Let me say this again. Revenue alone does not mean success. A business can make 7 figures and run a very small profit because they are spending a ton of money to get that extra comma. Welcome to Girls Make Bank, the podcast show for women who want to learn the art of selling for business and for life. I'm Jack White, seasoned sales professional, entrepreneur, and owner of Honeybees Group. Come back each week to hear inspiring stories from some of our favorite business owners. Learn how to take the ache out of selling and make bank. We're all in this together, so let's get started. Welcome back to Girls Make Bank, and welcome to part 1 of a 2-part series that is going to completely change the way you look at your business. In this episode, we are diving into why quarterly reviews are non-negotiable if you want to grow with intention instead of guesswork. So I'm going to walk you through a high-level framework of setting goals and doing quarterly check-ins, and then we are going to dive deep into one of the most important metrics in your business, and that is revenue and profit, okay? Because not all 6- and 7-figure businesses are created equal. So if you're not keeping an eye on what is actually hitting your bottom line, you could be working really hard and still not paying yourself what you deserve. So we'll talk about how to track, how to assess, and where to look if your profit is not where it should be. Now, this episode is pretty dense. I'll give you that up front, but there is a ton of actionable insights. So if you're listening on the go, that's amazing. Keep listening, but definitely plan to come back with a notebook and a pen so that you can apply this when you sit down to do your next quarterly review. And don't miss part 2, because next we'll cover more core metrics, how to evaluate what's working, how to evaluate what's not working, and what habits you should introduce to level up your next quarter. Now, if you want more support in your business and in growing sales, I invite you to apply for the membership in the Honeybees Sales Circle. The Sales Circle is where women small business owners and founders come to learn how to grow their business, build sales confidence, and scale their revenue in a way that feels good. So if 2025 is the year you want to start making bank, let's talk about how the Sales Circle can help you. And until then, here is part 1 of quarterly reviews in your business. Are you running your business, or is your business running you? Oh, such a juicy question. If you are not checking in on your progress every quarter, you are leaving money on the table. If you've ever felt like you're spinning your wheels, working hard, but not seeing the results you want, this episode is for you. And today we are talking about something that can completely change how you run your business. That is quarterly reviews. So it is April already of 2025. I cannot believe that Q1 is over. It is gone in the blink of an eye. But it is a great time to check in on the first quarter of our business and to see how we're doing. When I was in startup land and working in corporate, we did quarterly reviews all of the time. And for whatever reason, when I started my company, Honeybees Group, and I was a solopreneur, I didn't continue the practice of quarterly reviews for probably the first, I'd say 2 or 2.5 years. I'm not sure, maybe because I only worked with a small number of retainer clients. Most of my business was based on referrals. I maybe was just a little, I don't know, lazy, or I didn't realize the impact that quarterly reviews would have on my business. Essentially, as a solopreneur, I knew that I was making enough money to fuel my life every month, and I just didn't take the time to do quarterly reviews. It wasn't until I was planning for this next major revenue milestone that I wanted to hit Did I realize that, oh my gosh, I've been missing this amazing asset, this self check-in that I can do for myself, quarterly reviews. And I reintroduced the concept, the practice, and the discipline into my business. And I can tell you that it was a game changer. It allowed me to do a thorough analysis on every aspect of my company and make changes along the way to help me reach that next milestone. And I can tell you, I mean, I'm a little embarrassed to admit this because this is kind of what I coach other people to do. I feel crazy that for literally years, I wasn't doing it in my own business. But I tell you that to emphasize how important it is to do a quarterly review, because without it, my business was really staying flat. It was like, I don't want to say I flatlined because I was making money. My business wasn't dead, but I had plateaued. And it wasn't until I implemented the discipline of doing quarterly reviews, really monthly check ins, but quarterly deep dives, was I able to make the adjustments in my business that I needed to get to that next big revenue number. So, before we dive into specifics, let's zoom out and talk about why quarterly reviews even matter. Okay. I talk a lot about goal setting. You guys know that, or you girls know that I really believe in setting clear goals in your business around different things, not just revenue, sales activities, customer engagement metrics, whatever the key KPIs are in your business, you should set them out. But it shouldn't be something that you just write down and forget about them or not revisit them throughout the year. I want you to build a system where you are constantly checking in on your goals quarterly, monthly, even weekly to make sure that you are staying on track. If you have downloaded the Honeybee's Profit Planner, you will see that we have a Money Matters section, which talks about all of the money conversations you should be having with yourself quarterly, yearly, monthly, weekly. That's a great place to start when you think about doing quarterly reviews. Think of your business like a sailboat on the ocean, okay? Your big goal is the destination, but we know that the ocean is always shifting. Winds change direction, tides pull you in a different way, and unexpected storms appear, right? Just like in our business. Now, you are the captain of your sailboat. You are the captain of your business. And a skilled captain doesn't just set the course and hope for the best. They are constantly adjusting the sails. They shift their position. They use navigation tools to stay on track. And if they don't, you can easily drift miles off course without even realizing it. And that's where quarterly reviews become super important. They're like the adjusting of the sales in your business. It's a chance to look at where you are, where the winds are taking you, and what small corrections or adjustments you need to make to ensure you reach your goals efficiently and without really unnecessary struggle. Because we want our business, not that it's hard, or not that it's not hard, but we want our business to grow with some sense of ease and natural progression. So, let's talk about the numbers that you should be tracking in your quarterly reviews. Data is your best friend in business. If you are not tracking your numbers and interpreting your numbers, you are basically making decisions based on feelings instead of facts. And while I know that we can make decisions based on our gut instinct, we do it all the time, especially as women. We are incredibly intuitive and powerful in that way. When it comes to business, you can often waste time, resources, not make minor tweaks without looking at those numbers, because your numbers tell a story. They're going to tell you what is working. They're going to tell you what is not working. They're going to tell you where you should focus your energy next. And if you're ignoring them, you're basically running blind. So let's break down 5 key metrics that you should be reviewing every quarter and why they are critical to the success of your business. The first key metric that I want you looking at is your revenue and your profit. Okay? Are you hitting your financial goals? And more importantly, are you profitable, and how profitable are you? Now, if you have not gotten your hands on the Honeybee's Profit Planner yet, make sure to go and get it, because we break down how to plan for revenue in your business, how to get to your enough number, which is how much money you need to put in your pocket at the end of every month and year, so we can map out your business revenue and profit numbers. So what is revenue? Revenue is the total money coming into your business before expenses. Profit is what you actually keep after paying for everything. So everything from software to contractors to marketing costs to taxes. And so why does this matter? So many entrepreneurs, so many small business owners focus on revenue as that gold standard, that key metric. But revenue alone does not mean success. A business making $500,000 in revenue, but only keeping $75,000 after expenses is not more successful than someone who is making $150,000 in revenue and keeping $100,000 in profit. Let me say this again. Revenue alone does not mean success. A business can make 7 figures and run a very small profit because they are spending a ton of money to get that extra comma, whether that's ad costs, you have a high head count, you have a lot of outside contractors helping you grow, right? To evaluate revenue in your business, you need to, number one, compare your actual revenue to your projected revenue goals. So at the beginning of the year, you should have set revenue goals for your company this year. Take a look and check to see if you are on track. Are you where you thought you would be this time of year? This could be seasonal for some businesses. Do you typically get most of your revenue in third quarter and fourth quarter? What kind of revenue did you do in Q1 of last year? There's a lot of different ways to track revenue against your projected revenue goals, but I do want you to take a look and find out if you are where you think you should be at this time in the game. Number 2, look at profit margins. Are you spending too much to acquire customers, or are you spending too much to run your business? And number 3, I want you to look at hidden expenses that are eating into your profit. So this could be subscriptions or tools that you're paying for that you're not using, memberships where you're not really extracting the full value out of those memberships. Is your business in a time of transition and shifting? And maybe there's some headcount or some contractor agreements where you used to really depend on these people to help deliver your product or service, and now not so much. Okay. Look for hidden expenses within your business and try to cut them out. So, what is the action item in this step number 1? Take 15 minutes and pull your profit and loss statement, your P&L, from the last 3 months. Look at trends. Are your profits increasing? Are they shrinking? If your profit is shrinking, where is that money going? Is it going to hidden expenses? Is it going to an investment in the business that you plan on leveraging long-term? So maybe it's okay that you're taking a short-term profit hit because you expect long-term growth. Take 15 minutes and really map out your profit and loss statement. That is key metric number 1 for the quarterly review. Thank you for listening to this episode of Girls Make Bank. If you like what you've heard, please remember to subscribe, like, and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. Please review and share our show to help spread the word and help your girls make bank. And I'd love to hear from you. Connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram, or visit honeybeesgroup.co. Until next time, friends.